Hey guys, it's Brett. Thanks for dropping by my channel. So it is Tuesday, which of course means it's time for the Tuesday Laydown, the third edition, where I will be talking about some books that are coming out today that I am particularly excited to read. Hopefully some of them will interest you as well as talking about what I have been reading or what I plan to read this week. So as you may have noticed, I am in a completely new location today because, well, frankly, my husband had to work, so I got kicked out, which was rude. So I've moved into another location. I am now in my son's room. Maybe next week I'll be in my daughter's, and I will slowly show you snippets of where I live. Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to say, for those of you who are also on Instagram, this Wednesday, the 29th of September, I will be doing an Instagram live with author Rasheed Newson, where we will be talking about his book, My Government Means to Kill Me. I loved this book. I'm beyond excited to talk with him. So it will be 4 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Add 8 hours to that from the West Coast, where if you're in the UK. I will also, for those who can't watch it live, I will try to, I will post it in my stories as well, but I'm really excited, so I would love it if some or all of you would check it out. All right, so this week, I am reading 2 books. Well, I'm reading one at the moment and hope to get to the second. This first one, which I have just started, is called The Family Outing by Jessi Hempel. It's a memoir. Both of these books, actually, that I'm going to be reading this week come out next Tuesday, so you will see them again next Tuesday. But The Family Outing is a memoir about a woman who talks about her childhood and realizes that something always strange seems to be going on. But as they all become adults, she has 2 siblings. Every single member of her family comes out in some ways. Jessi herself is gay. Her sister comes out as bisexual. Her brother is transgender. Her father comes out as gay. And her mother finally admits to having a traumatic memory that involved a serial killer. It sounds so crazy. Something like if someone pitched this idea to you as a scripted series, you'd be like, okay, sure, but that's crazy. So it's supposed to be, obviously, as well as, being intense, I'm sure, it's also supposed to be very funny. So I will let you know. Like I said, I've just started it, but I think it sounds absolutely fascinating. The other thing I'm reading this week is The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor. This was courtesy of MCD Books, so thank you for that. I've talked about this before, which is basically, it's a speculative thriller about a hyper-intelligent species of octopus that is discovered, and the scientist who kind of discovers it, the way the government then tries to get it. So these are the 2 things that I'm reading this week. I will let you know. Oh, and lastly, I'm still doing this on audio, Stephen King. It's a bear of a book. I'm about halfway through. I'm loving it, though. I'm really enjoying it. I will say the one thing that I really like what they've done in the book, if you read the book, is they put these drawings in that make it look like kind of the classic fairy tale drawings of like Grimm or something like that. And I was like, that's such a great touch. They really did a nice job with it. But it's I would say it's Stephen King for people who have never tried Stephen King. It is absolutely kind of a fairy tale, but with his twist on it. But it's not the typical horror genre that he writes, but still really enjoyable. So that's great. All right, so let's get to the new releases this week. Okay, so the first book that I wanted to touch on, which is probably one of the biggest releases today, is the final book in the Fredrik Backman Beartown trilogy, The Winners. Beartown, for those who don't know, it's a series of books about a group of people living in this small town where hockey kind of dominates everything. And it's about the loves and lives of these people in this town. So many people love the book. I've not read any of them. Of course, now I absolutely want to. Always when there's a new book coming out, and I love the idea of trilogies or series, anything like that. I also did not watch, it was turned into a series that was on HBO, which I have not watched. But anyway, that's out today, and certainly that is probably one of the biggest releases today. The other thing that comes out that is getting a lot of pre-publication hype is Kate Atkinson's new novel, Shrines of Gaiety. Set in 1926 London, in the nightclubs of London, and focusing on a woman named Nellie Coker, who is kind of one of the queens of this whole area, and her 6 children. She is ruthless. It's been called, in their own blurb to promote the book, Dickensian in scope. It sounds fantastic. It sounds like something that would be ready-made to be turned into a mini-series, but I can't wait to get this one. I think it sounds like just the kind of lush period piece novel that I personally love, love, love. Next up is Sweet Soft Rhythm by Laura Warrell. This book had a massive bidding war for it. It involves a 40-year-old Boston-based trumpet player in 2013. I will read you a little blurb about it. In 2013, in Circus Palmer, a Boston-based trumpet player and an old-school ladies' man lives for his music and refuses to be tied down. Before a gig in Miami, he learns that the woman who is secretly closest to his heart, the free-spirited drummer Maggie, is pregnant by him. Instead of facing the necessary conversation, Circus flees, setting off a chain of interlocking revelations from the various women in his life. Most notable among them is his teenage daughter Coco, who idolizes him and is awakening to her own sexuality, even as her mentally fragile mother struggles to overcome her long-failed marriage and rejection by Circus. Delivering a lush orchestration, mind you, of diverse female voices, Warrell spins a provocative, soulful, and gripping story of passion and risk, fathers and daughters, wives and single women, and finally, hope and reconciliation, an answer to the age-old question, how do we find belonging when love is unrequited? Is that an age-old question? I'm not sure. Anyway, this sounds really interesting to me. Love the cover. So that's Sweet Soft, plenty rhythm. The final book that I wanted to touch on that's coming out today is a horror, supernatural kind of thriller, which is perfect, seeing that spooky season is right around the corner. So for those of you who are looking for things to possibly add, who like to do a seasonal read, this could be the book for you. It is called The House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. Alexis Henderson wrote a book 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, called The Year of the Witching, which I've had forever, still haven't read, but this looks equally as good. Let me read you the blurb. Wanted. Blood made of exceptional taste, must have a keen proclivity for life's finer pleasures. Girls of weak will need not apply. Marion Shaw has been raised in the slums where want and deprivation are all she knows. Despite longing to leave the city and its miseries, she has no real hope of escape until the day she spots a peculiar listing in the newspaper seeking a blood maid. Though she knows little about the far north, where wealthy nobles live in luxury and drink the blood of those in their service, Marion applies to the position, and in a matter of days she finds herself the newest blood maid at the notorious House of Hunger. Well, that should be your first sign. There, Marion is swept into a world of dark debauchery, and at the center of it all is Countess Lisavette. The Countess, who presides over this hedonistic court, is loved and feared in equal measure. She takes a special interest in Marion. This Yvette is magnetic, and Marion is eager to please her new mistress, but when she discovers that the ancient walls of the House of Hunger hide even older secrets, Marion is thrust into a vicious game of cat and mouse. She'll need to learn the rules of her new home, and fast, or its halls will soon become her grave. I think that sounds totally fun and the kind of thing that Ryan Murphy would get his fingers on and turn it into a gore-filled creep show. This sounds right up his alley. So that is the House of Hunger. I'm going to do a video at some point of more spooky reads as we get into October, things that I think are good and scary. But that is it for today. Also, just a reminder, if you have the time and the inclination and want to go to Instagram, Wednesday I will be appearing live with Rasheed Newson talking about his book, My Government Wants to Kill Me. Also, if you liked what you've seen today, please like and subscribe. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thanks for stopping by.